isolation is a gift? Question mark. Is isolation a gift? At the time that I'm making and uploading this video, we're in the midst of the coronavirus, COVID-19. And many people are on their own at home, either with their families, either with a lover or their housemates, friends, whoever they live with. Or some people are on their own, literally at home, on their own. Now, you may be watching this in the future as well, right, after COVID-19. And what I want to say to anyone watching this is that isolation, I have a lot of experience with isolation. I've had a lot of experience with isolation these last four years at the time I'm recording this. 2016, 17, 18, 19, 2020, right? I've spent more time on my own in these last 4 years working on projects and stuff, building my future, than most people will ever spend on their own in an entire lifetime. And I can say that there are many benefits to spending time on your own, away from other people. And they all essentially come down to the same few or the same benefit, which I'll talk about in a minute. But before I do that, I do also want to point out some negative things about spending a lot of time on your own. And some of you may be experiencing this right now. The first one is loneliness. And this can affect your mental, emotional, spiritual well-being massively. Human beings are tribal. We're not actually supposed to spend too long on our own. Like, it can be a detriment. There are lots of negative things about it. Loneliness being the one main like umbrella of a thing that all of the other negative things stem from. Right? And what I'm trying to say here is that it's not good to spend too much time on your own. So this is relevant to COVID-19 at the time I'm uploading this, and it's relevant to I will say to you watching this, if you can, I don't know what the laws are like in other countries, but in the UK we've now been told that we can go and see 6 people can gather together, up to 6 people, 5, 6 people, right? And if you're spending a lot of time on your own, I recommend you do what I'm going to be doing on Tuesday. At the time I'm uploading this, it's Saturday, so in a few days' time. And I'm currently living with my mum and my brother, so I'm not too lonely, but still, right? When you're in the same building, the same house, it can get very samey. You need to go out and change your energy, even if you are living with people. I need to be around other people, and But like I was saying, what I'm going to do, and what I recommend anyone who hasn't done this yet, is take advantage of the fact that they're saying now you can go and spend time with other people, right? Because we need to be around other people, man. You need to go out, leave the house, and engage with other people. Even though we're not allowed to touch anyone at the moment, we have to stand 2 meters apart. Still, engaging with other people is so important for human beings' mental, emotional, spiritual well-being, right? We're all one. There is something about the energy of other human beings. It's an invisible energy of having the presence of another human being or multiple other human beings around you as a human being, right? That we need, and we massively notice the difference when it's not there and when it's there. Like, for example, these last few years I've spent an incredible amount of time on my own in the house, and my mum and my brother have been going to work. And since they have been confined to the house with me, I've massively noticed the difference of the invisible spiritual energy that emanates from one human being to another. I'm like, oh, I feel so much more healthy that they're here, right? So that's what you should do. Also, if you're watching this in the future and you're spending a lot, it's nothing, and COVID-19 has passed. Any year in the future, you might be watching this, after 2020, 5 years time, 2 years time, 10 years time, whenever, and you're finding yourself spending a lot of time on your own, I would highly recommend going outside and meeting people. And obviously you will be able at that point to hug them and stuff, because spending too much time on your own is not good for you. Right, so that's what I want to say about the negatives. It's just loneliness. You start getting stuck in your head. You start thinking a bit too much, right? You start getting paranoid about other people. You can get stuck on social media, and which isn't real. There's no body language, tone of voice. The way you interpret what people say is like, can be skewed and completely lose meaning, and through lack of body language and tone of voice, right? You can just be suffering. You can get depressed. You can go on a very downward spiral. You can just turn to alcohol and drugs. You can get worried about going out and seeing other people. You can have anxiety attacks, or just general anxiety, depression, all kinds of things. There's lots of bad things that can happen from spending too much time on your own. So be very aware of that and make the effort to go and see other people, either during the COVID times or whenever you're watching this in the future, if you've been somebody who's been spending too much time on their own. Now, that being said, there are lots of positive things about spending time on your own. The main one is when you're on your own and it's just your inner voice, your heart, right? Your gut, your soul, you, who you really are, not what society, school, parents, family, religion in some cases, society as a whole, and a few other institutions and TV and everything indoctrinates us with and puts in our mind, right? And that's not who we are. That's just, lots of people do not know who they are because they never spent enough time on their own, figuring out, listening to their inner voice, listening to what their heart's telling them to do, listening to what their heart is telling them to go after and pursue in life, listening to having epiphanies about being introspective about their own behavior, our own behavior, and, oh, did I react too much to this thing in my life? Oh shit, I realize where this issue stems from. It stems from my father or my mother or my childhood, right? When you're not around the distraction of other people and you're not constantly just distracting yourself with talking to them and them talking to you and talking about bullshit. Not that there's anything, when I say bullshit, not that I'm putting down, I'm being like a snob, oh, you shouldn't be talking about the mundane and the everyday stuff. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if you're doing that all the time and it's a distraction for you, like, recognize that that's what you're doing, even at a subconscious level. If you're not consciously aware of it, you're distracting yourself from what's really going on, from real deep-seated issues that you might have, right? When you isolate yourself, you have time to have creative thoughts. You might be an artist, a writer, a musician, whatever, right? If you're watching this during the COVID times, use this time to work on something, to figure out what your heart really wants you to do, what your gut really wants you to do. Not what your fucking parents or your friends or your spouse, your boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, or your family, your general family, or your teachers wanted you to do if you're now an adult and you're not at school, or whatever, what society as a whole says, oh, you need to do this, you need to work at this job, you need to do this, you can't do this, like, you're not an artist, you're not this, you're not that. Fuck that shit. Your gut and your heart will tell you what it want, and the universe and God, if you like, if you want to use that term, right, will enact through you when you're in isolation with just you and your thoughts, and you realize what your true thoughts are, not the thoughts that keep coming into your head that other people put in your head. You have time to question things, question yourself. You have time to heal from trauma from the past. You have time to work on things and express your true voice. And come out with things. There's no one there telling you can't do things. You're like planning out your life. That's a great thing about isolation. So I recommend everyone during the COVID times, if you're watching this, take some advantage of this isolation. Don't distract yourself with TV all the time. Not that there's anything wrong with watching it once in a while, but take the time to listen to your inner voice, to meditate, to be still with your inner spiritual being and self, right? That will tell you what you should be doing in life. Take time to think about your own behavior, right? Take time for the epiphanies about other people and yourself and everyone's behavior in your life, like your friends and family. Where were they wrong? Where were you wrong? Did you overreact? Take time to think about lots of different things. Take time to write a journal. Take time to work on yourself on your own. And if you're watching this after COVID-19, everything I just said, take the time out of your life to do that. Even if it's for a day, right? If you can't spend a fucking day on your own, you've got serious demons and you're just distracting yourself, aren't you? If you can't spend the whole day on your own and trying to do that, right? Some people, I recommend you do that. Sometimes I recommend some people spend a week on their own. Right? Now, if you're feeling really depressed and you've been around people, you haven't been around people for a long time, I recommend the opposite. I recommend you get around people, right? Because otherwise you can go to a very dark place. But if you've never not been on your own, I recommend going on your own even for like 3 hours. Really trying to like listen to yourself, meditate, right? Isolation can be a curse, but it can also be a gift. From me, Conor Canney, at the Let You Be Life Camp. Peace and love. You can do it, people.